want you to imagine waking up long before the sun even thinks about rising. There's no electricity to flick on the lights, no boxed cereals sitting in the pantry, no instant protein shakes, no coffee machine, and definitely no app to deliver a fancy matcha latte right to your door. It's just you and the reality of a seriously grueling day ahead under the blazing sun. You have to wonder what kind of breakfast could possibly fuel a day like that. Well, today we're exploring this fascinating, kind of forgotten meal. We're looking at the incredibly simple, unbelievably filling, and surprisingly healthy breakfast that fueled the legendary 1940s Punjabi farmer. Okay, let's dive into this. On the left side here, we've got our modern morning convenience. We rely so heavily on electricity, coffee machines to just get our eyes open, and pre-packaged protein shakes for a quick burst of energy. I mean, honestly, some of us need 3 coffees just to find the energy to open an email. But then you look on the right, and you have the 1940s farming reality. Absolutely zero electricity, no modern machines to do the heavy lifting, just 12 unbroken hours of intense manual labor waiting for you out in the fields. It's a completely different world, and surviving it, well, that demanded a completely different kind of fuel. Section 1. Dawn of the Punjabi farmer. To really grasp the sheer scale of energy we're talking about, we need to set the scene in 1940s rural Punjab. 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, that is when this world comes alive. Picture a totally quiet village. Maybe a rooster crows in the distance. Long before sunrise, a traditional clay stove, which is called a chula, is already glowing warm with burning wood. The women of the household are awake, kneading fresh dough completely by hand. And the milk they're using? It was collected from the family's own buffalo just a couple of hours earlier. Everything is literally farm direct. Nothing comes from a factory, and absolutely nothing arrives in plastic packaging. And there's a very good reason that fresh, farm-direct food was an absolute necessity. 12 hours. That number represents the sheer physical endurance required every single day. A farmer would walk for kilometers, plow the heavy earth by hand, and carry massive loads from dawn until the sun went down. And they managed this monumental physical feat without cracking open a single modern energy drink or taking any artificial supplements. Pretty wild, right? Section 2. Anatomy of the meal. Now we're going to dissect this time-tested breakfast and look at the actual ingredients. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how advanced this seemingly simple, rustic meal actually was. If we map these historic ingredients to what we now call modern fitness functions, it is just fascinating. See the thick roti? That's your slow-burning carbohydrate. The freshly turned white butter? Well, that translates perfectly to calorie-dense endurance fat. The lassi acts as your hydration and probiotics, while the seasonal veggies swoop in to deliver those essential micronutrients. Decades before anybody was hitting the gym and talking about macros or optimization, these farmers already had their nutrition perfectly dialed in. Section 3. The science of strength. Let's take a deeper dive into these specific components to understand the science behind the stamina. The whole foundation starts right here, with these large, incredibly thick rotis made of whole wheat, and sometimes they'd mix in seasonal millet or maize depending on the time of year. Now, you gotta understand, these were not those thin, delicate restaurant-style flatbreads you might be used to seeing today. These things were heavy, they were substantial, they were intentionally designed to release slow-burning carbohydrates, making sure that one single morning meal could last and provide steady, unrelenting energy through an entire day of backbreaking work. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the secret weapon, freshly churned white butter. Not processed butter from a foil wrapper, definitely not a low-fat spread, but thick, creamy, rich, homemade butter. Today, a lot of people have a genuine fear of fats, but for a farmer burning thousands of calories a day, this butter melting over a hot roti was incredibly valuable energy. That specific combination of heavy dairy fat and whole grains is exactly what kept crippling hunger at bay for hours on end. And to wash it all down, no breakfast was complete without lassi. You can really think of this as the original, all-natural sports drink. Long before commercial hydration formulas and plastic bottles ever hit the shelves, farmers relied on these huge metal glasses of fresh yogurt blended with water, sometimes lightly salted, sometimes plain. It was an absolute powerhouse that delivered protein, essential electrolytes, and beneficial bacteria from the fermented dairy, keeping them perfectly hydrated under that scorching summer sun. But the real genius of this meal, honestly, is that nothing was ever wasted. They throw in fresh onions, radishes, homemade pickles, jaggery, maybe some green chilies, or even leftover veggies from the night before's dinner. Back in the 1940s, food was simply too valuable to throw away. Every single calorie mattered, so these zero-waste additions didn't just stretch the family's resources, they actually provided a vital daily dose of micronutrients to perfectly round out the diet. Let's move to Section 4, the modern-day challenge, and see how this builds into the reality we live in today. It begs a pretty direct question, right? Would a 1940s Punjabi farmer's breakfast actually be healthy for you today? Well, if we look strictly at the raw ingredients, modern nutrition experts widely agree that minimally processed whole foods, whole grains, fermented dairy, and natural ingredients are exceptionally healthy. I mean, it's real food. It's exactly what science recommends we eat. So the crucial point is the striking difference in how we actually spend our energy. 1940s farm life meant earning every single calorie by burning thousands of them through hard, relentless physical labor. Modern life, for most of us anyway, involves sitting at a desk with a drastically lower daily energy expenditure. So while the ingredients themselves are virtually flawless, eating multiple thick rotis completely drenched in heavy butter might simply provide way more calories than today's average desk worker actually needs to get through a bunch of Zoom calls. But hey, that doesn't mean we can't learn from this incredible history. In fact, I have a challenge for you for tomorrow morning. Step 1, ditch the highly processed, boxed cereal, skip the sweet protein bars, and drive right past the drive-thru. Step 2, try eating like a 1940s Punjabi farmer. Grab a thick homemade roti, some fresh butter, and a glass of lassi. Step 3, pay close attention to your body. Notice how long it keeps you full and observe how steady your energy feels compared to your usual morning routine. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. Could you survive an entire day on the exact breakfast that powered generations of legendary farmers? This meal is such a powerful, enduring reminder that history's most effective foods weren't trendy, they certainly weren't expensive, and they were never advertised on a billboard. They were simply real food.